I know the intro at the beginning says sit back, relax and enjoy, but today it should be changed to just sit up and listen. Because today is going to be more like an angry rant. But to begin with, the fact that it's a Monte Joni, I have to explain. When I was recording this, it was just I recorded one match on Monte Joni, didn't record the next match because I wanted the first video to process. Went back to recording again, it came up as Monte Joni. It didn't even allow me, it didn't even show me what map we were going on to. Otherwise I would have skipped it. But you know what? That's besides the point. That's honestly besides the point. My main problem today that I'm actually going to rant about is the sort of attitude we're having in terms of wanting Assassin's Creed multiplayer. It is the attitude we're having of just, we say we want it, but we're not going to do that much. Or we say we want it, but we want Ubisoft to have complete creative freedom and we're not going to give them any accountability. We're not going to put any checks in balance to sort of say we want this or that. Or it's the classic one of, we want Assassin's Creed multiplayer, but we just want it to be like Brotherhood. Jesus Herbert. Good grief, man. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm really gonna lose my mind. Because I don't want to call out anybody. I don't want to name out anybody personally for this. And at the same time, I'm willing to admit that I'm a hypocrite in a lot of the positions I hold. I'm a sort of hypocritical prick in a lot of the positions I hold. But even I am willing to point out some flaws, some fatal fucking flaws that some of these arguments have. And this is perhaps my new style of video if I can fucking speak properly. Okay, so let's begin. So all of us here are saying we want Assassin's Creed multiplayer, or at least the entire Assassin's Creed multiplayer community says they want to return in Empire. I'm all for that, thank you very much. I proposed in the last video that we need to be more affirmative in action. I've created a bit of an idea. It's not a solid idea, but it's something to get the ball rolling. I'm proposing we create like a census or a kind of form or a kind of questionnaire that we can fill out, and we can state stuff like which was our favourite Assassin's Creed multiplayer game. We can say Brotherhood or Black Flag or Free or Revelations if you're that goddamn insane prick. And then we can actually list off stuff like features we want to see return, things we imagine or expect about Assassin's Creed multiplayer. Again, this idea, it's literally just an idea I had last night. It's not the strongest idea, it's not the best idea, it's not the greatest idea. It can face a lot of improvement, but I want to get the ball rolling. It's something rather than nothing, and sometimes you have to take something rather than nothing. So, with that being said, there's a couple of other things I just want to address. Firstly being this sort of whole idea of I want Assassin's Creed multiplayer, but I want Ubisoft to have creative freedom. To me, that's a bit of a dangerous, if not a naive position to take, because you have to then place all your trust and make the assumption that Ubisoft are going to give you what you want. And people have told me throughout my life I need to be realistic about my expectations. That's the same lesson I want to pass on here. You have to be realistic about your expectations. You can't give someone total creative freedom or maximum creative freedom and little accountability and then expect them to give you what you want. You cannot do that. It is foolish. It sounds like I'm attacking personal people who've made this argument at me, but I'm honestly not, and this is coming from experience. I have wanted and wished for things in my life. As recently as a year ago, there was something I wanted and wished for more than life itself, but I also wanted for freedom for that particular person to do what they wanted, and it turns out what I wanted and what the other person wanted didn't align with each other. So something had to be conceded. And that's the same kind of thing that's going to happen here. You can't sit there and say, I want Ubisoft to have as much creative freedom to do what they want, to make the product they want, but then at the same time, I want, say, them to go back to the style of Brotherhood. You're negating one position by taking another position. You are contradicting your own argument. It's either you want Ubisoft to make a game that you want Ubisoft to make a game in the style that you want it to be in, with certain features put in, certain features stripped out, X, Y, Z, whatever, or you want Ubisoft to make the game they want to make, and you have no right to complain when you don't like it because you've seceded. You've given up your right to complain when you said, I want them to have creative freedom. Now, as I've had pointed out to me, and as I've looked back on, there are times when the gaming community in general will have ideas, will have wishes, will have desires for games, and they don't work out. Star Wars Battlefront is a very recent and a very good example of this. It is a very good example of the gaming community, the consumers need to keep their expectations. We need to keep our expectations in check. We need to sort of balance out our ideas and keep it in the back of our minds that we are not the ones making this game. It's the developers who are actually creating the game. Yes, it's for us, but it's the developers who are creating the game. They have to do all the coding, they have to sort out all the files, they have to create the ideas that we want. And if they turn around and legitimately say these ideas cannot work, or these ideas do not make the product balanced, then we have to sit back and accept that and reevaluate what we want, or reevaluate what we are trying to achieve. But at the same time, you cannot just give a company like Ubisoft full creative range and allow them to do what they want to do, because let's face it, they don't, at recent, they haven't exactly held our interests at heart. And what am I talking about? Let me go back. Oh yes, the people who complained about there was no multiplayer in the Ezio collection. You complained that there's no multiplayer in the Ezio collection, that the multiplayer wasn't remastered and carried over. And yes, I'm disappointed by that. As much as Revelations was a glitchy, buggy mess, and as much as Brotherhood had its flaws, I was disappointed that these multiplayers weren't remastered. However, if you just say, okay, I'll give Ubisoft creative freedom on their next title, and I just hope that they're gonna put in the multiplayer, or I expect them to put in the multiplayer in Empire, knowing this track record, you're going to be disappointed. You are going to get a cold, harsh wake-up call from the world, and it's either going to come in the form of a slap to the face, or a bit of money taken out your wallet as you get robbed blind. I'm sorry if I'm sounding harsh or mean towards anyone. That is not my full intent. However, sometimes the world is harsh and mean towards you. So it's sometimes better to get it out the way, out in the open and clear, so people can quote unquote move on, even though I don't believe that's a real thing. But nonetheless, so people can, just comprehend that or process it. And here's the thing, getting back to what I was saying earlier, if we want a good multiplayer game, if we honestly want the multiplayer to be like Brotherhood, we have to go back and assess Brotherhood, both towards the beginning and its end of its lifespan. We have to look at what made this game work and what didn't work for this game, the features that can be removed or that we feel should be removed, or the elements that we want to promote. Okay? We've got to do this. Now I'm running my mouth off here, but sometimes in life you need to be active. Sometimes in life you are not going to get what you want just by sitting back and asking for it. You've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to say what you want. You've got to assert yourself. You've got to have a fucking spine. It's harsh what I'm saying. People will probably dislike me for saying this, but you've got to grow a pair and have a spine. If you don't like something, be open and express it. Don't try and beat around the bush about it. Don't try to be fucking polite about it. Sometimes you can't be polite about stuff. Sometimes you have to be upfront and bold with it. But in the end, if you can get what you want from it, then you've won. You've succeeded. You fought your fight and you've won. And to prove, and my next video, I'm going to show you Assassin's Creed Revelations. Now what I want to really discuss in that, is what happens when we don't give checks and balances to Ubisoft, when we just allow them to run amok, when we just allow them to do what they want without regards to how we feel about stuff, without giving them a check or a balance to say we don't like this, or we don't feel you should do this, or we feel you're ruining the game. Because Revelations is a glitchy, broken piece of shit called a game, and I don't know why I have a nostalgia for it, but I had a nostalgia for it. I wanted to play it, and I found out myself that it is just broken, but it served me as a good lesson as to what happens if we let Ubisoft off the fucking hooks and allow them to do what they want without regards for what we want. Thank you very much, and this is probably going to piss people off, but you know what? I felt I need to say it. It's time we assert ourselves. It's time we stand up and grow ourselves a spine. Thank you.